Okay. So it's filling up, the class is filling up, or the webinar is filling up real quick. So just so that we know that this session is being recorded, just so that you have knowledge of that. Okay, so we'll start in about 1 minute. I hope everyone is doing well. It's a Friday night, as opposed to being out, you're here with me, talking about personal finance and many different things that we're going to be getting on with tonight. Okay, I think we'll just start. It's 3 minutes in. Oh, my voice is low. You know what? I think it might be my AirPods. I'm just going to take it off. Let me know if this is better. I think it might have been my AirPods. Let me know if this sounds better. I think it should. I don't know why sometimes these things make your voice low. But okay, let's get right into it. Good evening, everyone. As you all know, my name is Bunmi George, CEO of Shredder Gang, A.K.A JBums. Most of you are here because you know me as JBums. And over the last couple of months, I'm guessing that you're here because you follow me on Instagram. So hey to all my Instagram family. It's great to meet with you off the gram and talk about important aspects of our lives. A couple of months ago, I have been talking about a lot of different things on my Instagram, but mostly about personal finance, because I found that a lot of us who are getting matured in life have really no background on personal finance, risk management. And I always get a lot of questions from a lot of you all the time asking me for advice on what do you think I should do with this? What do you think I should do with that? And so for me, I just thought it would be a great idea to partner with Leadway Assurance on this. And so I'm sure if you are like me in the early years of my life, I'll say when I was like, my 20s, I didn't really have financial literacy. I would say I was financially illiterate. I didn't really know what to do with money, how to save, how to invest, and a lot of things, lots of very, very important things that I just thought that were just too much for my head. Like, I don't want to make my head pain me. So I didn't really take it too seriously. And but as I got older, I remember I had a changing and a turning point in my life when I was 24, when I first started my business, Shredder Gang. And I knew that I just really couldn't remain the way that I was because now I am running a business and I really just don't want to run my business into the ground. So I had to start taking this thing seriously. And as I've evolved over time and talked to a lot of people, my peers and also, mentees or people younger than me, I find that this is one aspect of their life that they really need a handle on. And the truth about it is when you have financial literacy, it kind of leads you to financial freedom. And it's something that I desire for a lot of women, individuals, but a lot of women, because I'm a woman, and we find that a lot of women really don't take this seriously. Kind of really maybe my partner will do something about that, or my husband will. But when you start to take control of your finances and your life in general, things just change for you. It's a game changer. And so this is why I partner with Leadway to kind of bring you this. We're going to talk about many different things. We're going to talk about personal finance, and this is really a safe space for everyone. So I know sometimes when you're like webinars, you're like very, very serious and you think like, let me just kind of like, not ask questions. I don't want to seem stupid. So there's no stupid question here. There's no silly question. All your questions are valid. All your thoughts are valid. And, if you don't have a notepad, please bring out a notepad. I have mine right here. I'm going to be writing and taking notes and writing down my questions. So feel free to be free here. This is a safe space, like I've said. We're going to gain a lot of knowledge. I have two people that are going to be here today. They're going to be giving us a lot of their from their wealth of knowledge. The first person here is Juliet. Is Juliet here yet? Juliet is a financial advisor at Leadway, and she's going to be taking the first part of this webinar, and she's going to be talking to us about our personal finance. And so, Juliet, you can take it away. I don't see Juliet.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here. Hi, Bunmi. Can you hear me?
Hello, Juliet.
Yes, Bunmi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, perfect. It was my fault. I'm sorry about that. It was on it
Okay.
was on low, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Bunmi, for the warm introduction and a really nice intro into our presentation today. On the call with me, I have a few of my colleagues who will be speaking to the health side and wills. I have Olajumoke, I have Ayobami, and on the back end, we have Oti and Bukola who will be moderating our Q&A sections. And I'll just go into the topic for today, which is personal finance. I don't know if everybody can see the slide on. If the slide is up now. Please confirm if you can see the slide. Just drop a message in the chat.
Not yet. It's starting now. Oh, yes.
Okay, great. So, like Bunmi has said, it's very important for everyone to be very aware. Financial literacy is actually very important. Financial responsibility is actually very important. And that's why we're talking about personal finance and things to do to keep your finances afloat. So we'll go into the slide. Please, next slide, please. So it says, what makes up your personal finance? Personal finance in a layman's language simply just talks to how we manage our funds, how our monies are managed. So once you get, say, 20,000, for example, what do you do with that 20,000? And what value does that activity that you do with the 20,000, what value does it bring you in the present and in the near future? And so we'll be giving you options and ideas of things you can use your monies to do that doesn't not only benefit you in the now, it also benefits you 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years from now. So we'll just go into what personal finance is for the course of this slide. Please, next slide. So for the course of this presentation, we've narrowed it down. Personal finance is quite really wide, but just so that we can keep our focus on a few things, we've defined personal finance into 5 different key points to speak to your income, your spending, your savings, your investing, and your protection. The income, like I've said, maybe you're a salary earner, for example, now, or you're a business person, and you have cash flow of say 50,000 every month. That's your income. Now, when you go to your spending, out of that 50,000, what do you use the 50,000 to do? Do you pay rent? Do you buy food? Do you cater for health? Do you cater for transportation? That speaks to your spending. It's still all part of what you use your personal finance to do. Now, out of that 50,000, for example, let's say you use 5,000 for savings. So it's not like you're not prudent, you're not keeping something away for the rainy day. So you say, let me keep 5,000 in my savings account or my cooperative account, or even your retirement savings, for example. You can even be like even more prudent by saying, let me do what is not the necessarily regular savings and let me do some investments. Your investments could be in stocks, in real estate, treasury bills, mutual funds, and whatever may interest you at the time. Now, final point speaks to protection, which is actually the crux of why we're here today. Outside of your income, your spending, your savings, and your investments, how well are you protected in the real sense of protection? So you would wonder that if my savings not protecting me or if my investment is not protecting me, you would see that somehow most of these things are tied back to risk. So if something happens today and you lose your source of income, maybe you lose your job or your business just stops, giving you regular income, you won't have money to save, you won't have money to spend, neither will you have money to invest. But let's flip the script and say maybe you had started, like we said, when she started her business, you were that financial literate at that time and you started doing some form of protection. So outside of your normal savings, you are putting funds aside for the rainy day. You're taking a 5-year plan, for example, and say, I want to protect myself so that when I want to go to school, I have 10,000, I have 50,000, I have 500,000 in 5 years' time to put. So now if something happens all of a sudden, you already have funds that have been invested in securities that will now guarantee a future project that you want to go ahead to achieve. As the slide progresses, you will see places where your income can be protected. Next slide, please. It speaks to insurance for you. Insurance is a very, very interesting and very, very broad topic. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, the penetration of insurance is not as wide as you have it in other climes. Say you go outside the country, insurance is as important as you have a bank account. But what we will try to do on this webinar is also to educate. So you know, when somebody is saying something about insurance, you have a knowledge to say, oh, I know this about insurance, and you can counter some myths you hear about insurance, and you'll be well informed. The next slide, please. So insurance, we've defined insurance as risk management. It protects you against unexpected loss. That's the very easy definition of insurance. Once you think about insurance, think about risk, think about protection and uncertainty. Those three words are associated with insurance, anyhow you want to look at it. So if you have something that's valuable to you, you want to protect it. And when you say, oh, I don't want an insurance, or God is my insurance, because we hear things like that. You're on the field, you're talking to somebody and you say, oh, sir, ma, I think you need this insurance. I think you need to cover this. They say, oh, don't worry, God is my insurance and all that. But the real reality of things is that when things, uncertainties and eventualities happen, nobody knows. And if you don't have anything to protect you for those periods, you find that, you know, it's a very messy situation. If I would use I'll be making a lot of references to the NSAS protest and, you know, the lockdown period and all the riots and everything that happened during that period. There were a lot of uncertainties that happened. If somebody had spoken to anybody in 2019 and said anything about a pandemic, let alone NSAS or any of those riots or anything that happened then in 2020, I'm sure nobody would have foreseen that. And so you would have had some people say in 2019, God is my insurance. And then in 2020, you're at home, you're watching your life investment just burn down the drain. Why? And you can't do anything about it. And you'll find that most of those funds were either taken from banks and, you know, they're either loans. So where do you start from? So would you now quantify your loss to having maybe taking an insurance of 5,000 to cover your building or your houses or your assets? But as we progress in the slide, I'll be making very, very detailed reference to the types of insurances and what you can use to cover your assets and your businesses generally. Please, next slide. So there are three types of insurance, or we've grouped insurance into types. And for the purpose of this presentation, we'll be talking about three major types of insurance. It's grouped into the life insurance, general insurance, and the health insurance. And we'll be speaking to them as the slide progresses. Please, let's go to the next slide. Now, life insurance. Life insurance is a term that is almost loosely used by literally everybody. But sometimes when you speak to people, you really find out that people don't necessarily know to the extent of where life insurance covers. And so we'll be trying to educate you so that you leave here well informed and you know better. Life insurance is simply based on the premise that it gives you peace of mind, it keeps you afloat while you're alive, and it provides financial support for your loved ones when you're gone. And you know, when people talk about life insurance, the first thing that flashes in the minds of people is, oh, I'm not going to die now. What for me? It's not for me. It's not my time. I will live long. You know, people are saying the death side of it, but I mean, death is something that comes to everybody at God knows what time. But in the event where you're not protected, what happens to your loved ones? I'm sure that we have a lot of people, if we have ladies on the call here and you're a fan of Nollywood, you'd watch a lot of African magic, and we see a lot of these things play out in movies. Now, in as much as they are movies, some of these movies are based on real life situation where you see the man has died and he left nothing for his family, so to speak, in writing or in any form of a contract. And then the uncle comes and he takes over the whole property, takes over everything, and the family is left with nothing. Most times you find that maybe a very wealthy man in the city has 20 houses and so many properties. His wife and his immediate family doesn't know anything about it. And you know, somebody from nowhere who hasn't necessarily even worked hard as the wife or, you know, the kids to enjoy this thing. And the family is at a disadvantage. Why? Somebody like that probably has never heard about the life insurance or has never even taken a life insurance policy. And, you know, These are the type of things that we're trying to avoid when we speak to life insurance. Life insurance is also broken into insurance savings and the protection side of it. So when we say it keeps you afloat whilst you're alive, it speaks to the savings part of it and the target plans. So savings, you would say, why can't I do my savings in the bank? So the insurance savings differs from that of the bank because outside of the normal, your regular savings, which you are keeping up with, there's also a protection side of it, which is like a life cover that's embedded in every savings policy you take up from an insurance company. So outside of the 20,000, 5,000, 10,000 you are saving on a monthly basis for a period of say 3 years or 5 years, there's a protection side of it, a life insurance cover attached to every savings cover you take. So in the event maybe you start saving in year 1, for example, and your duration is 3 years, if for some reason death occurs in year 1 after you have saved say 200,000, what is payable to your next of kin or your beneficiaries is the 200,000 plus the interest and plus the life insurance cover of say maybe 500,000 attracted to that policy. So you see that outside of going to the bank to go and save, you get your normal 4% and your interest. They prorate whatever you've saved and giving it to you. The insurance savings has a life insurance cover embedded in that life savings. Now we go to target plans. Target plans basically speaks to everybody and all class of people. So if you have students here or graduates who are looking to further their education, some people here want to go to Harvard, some people want to go to Yale, and in the very immediate, they don't have money to fund that lifestyle or to fund that education. You now say, oh, I want to go to Yale in another 2 years or another 5 years. And you know how much you've written to the school, you've done your findings, and you know how much it costs to get into the school after admission, after your scholarship or your admission and everything. Your tuition is say 200 million, for example, or 50 million, for example, and you're wondering, how can I save towards 50 million? It's really simple. Start now and, get in touch and say, oh, this is my target plan. This is my goal. This is what I hope to achieve. And this is the duration I hope to achieve it. And this is, you give us your date of birth and other information that we would request. Then we tell you how much you would be saving, either on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, or a biannual basis, or a yearly basis. And we would walk towards your plan. Most of us that follow JBums on Instagram, you would see that she had taken a plan that actually is going to mature in the future. So she's saving for a particular target. And so we can have that. It could be your house rent. It could be you're saving to travel. You want to go on a girls trip and you want something to, just bulk some to come in 2 years and 3 years. Now, what the apprehension people have towards savings and investment most times is that you think that when you're going to go for that trip, you would have the money readily available, and something can just crop up that needs your attention financially, and there's really nothing you can do about it. As against when you have like a contract that, oh, I'm doing something for 5 years, you're committed. You've gone and signed a standing instruction that every month the bank should just deduct XYZ amount from your accounts. That way you are committed to your goal. You can also use, like I said, you can use it to plan for education. We have new parents here. We have parents who are in school. You want your child to go to St. Saviour's or something. You can also save towards that goal with a duration in mind. Now, when the target plan is very interesting fact of target plan is, if we're using the Harvard example, or the Yale example for a discussion or a case study here, you're saving for 50 million for a period of 5 years. Now, you are paying 200,000 every month to achieve this, your target plan. God forbid, like we normally say, if something happens to that policy holder in year 2, and all the monies you have saved is just 10 million. Remember, the target plan is 50 million. What is payable to the beneficiaries or your next of kin in the event where something happens before the end of your duration is the full target plan, which is 50 million, is what is payable. Interesting, right? It's not a gamble, but that's how this policy runs, or this package runs. It's the future unpaid benefits. So in as much as we know that you had a plan in the future and you're already working to it, paying your premiums as a when due, if something happens along the line where the person is unable to continue with that policy, what is due to the family or due to whoever your beneficiary or next of kin is in the future unpaid benefits. I'll quickly just go into the life insurance. The life insurance speaks to sometime in August, we are running a campaign where you would say, for as little as 5,000 naira, you can get a life cover of 1 million naira. Now, imagine, just think about it. What investment can you possibly do that will give that kind of return in the event that death happens? So you would find that insurance is not only affordable. Once you have the information to go with the financial decision you want to make, you find that insurance is just very, very affordable at your fingertips. 5,000 naira, so people have it to use to buy data. They're watching videos on Instagram. It's not necessarily value add, but assume that that 5,000 naira, you have keyed it into getting a life insurance cover for yourself now, or for your parents, or for your mom, or your brother, or your loved one. If something happens and someone just comes and gives you lump sum of 1 million and says, oh, we know that you've lost your loved one. However, use this 1 million to take care of, uncertainties or expenses that will crop up. You would find that you are better off than when you would have spent the money for something very frivolous. For people who have aged parents, we have a funeral insurance cover that speaks to that. You can take it for your in-laws, your parents, and you can also be a policy holder. And so many of us, a few months ago, we were watching on Instagram, Obi Kubana buried his mother in grand style and all that. Nobody knows his spending habits, and you can't really say to the kind of plans and things he would have put in place to ensure that if he wants to close the whole of the street, he has funds to afford that. Let's assume where you don't have something like that. You find people borrowing to do burial because you want to impress people and all whatnot. So this is part of financial literacy that we're trying to get you acquainted with. I'll just quickly go to the next slide, which speaks to the benefits, and just run through most of these things I have spoken to in the previous slide. I'll just mention it as a bullet point. Like I said, life insurance gives you peace of mind. It helps you create wealth if you're going the savings route. It gives you financial security. And for those of us that work in like structured organizations, say a corporate organization, you can enjoy tax relief. At the end of the year or at the beginning of the year, depending on what the culture of the organization is, there's a form that's normally given to people to update your tax information. On that form, you will see a part that speaks to life insurance or any other insurance cover. If you have and you put the amount there, there's a rebate that the federal government or the Lagos state government will pay back to you. Yes, they will pay back some amounts to you as tax relief because life insurance is not taxable actually. So they pay back tax relief to you and you enjoy that only when you have life insurance cover. I can't say that this happens in every other investment, maybe you go to the bank or anything like that. I'll quickly just speak to the general side of the insurance before I hand over to my colleague to speak on health. General insurance cover just speaks to protecting every other thing that's not your life and it's not your health. So anything you can think of that is not life and is not health is covered under general insurance. We have the auto plan, which covers your car. We have the homeowner, which covers your home. And we also have household insurance. So you can say, oh, I don't have a house, so it doesn't concern me. But you live in a house that is rented and you have valuables in that house. What happens if you go to work today and you come back, your house is boggled? All your TV, all your 60-inch television and everything is gone. What happens? You start from scratch, or you don't even know where to start from most times. But if you have a householder insurance that in place that covers your content, even as a tenant, you can cover your valuables, your ACs, your iPods, your iPads, your wristwatches, your iWatches. Nowadays, people have like a lot of expensive gadgets that they don't know that they can actually have cover on. I'll just give a personal experience on this. Like two years ago, I was in traffic somewhere on the mainland around the Gerard to be precise. And it was traffic generated by the trailers and all that. And before I knew it, I just had smash on my car window and my bag was gone. Now, unfortunately, I had cash in my bag and I had so many other things in my bag. Outside the shock of what had just happened, once I got home and I got over that shock, the first thing I did was I took pictures of my car and the inside of the car. I took pictures of everything. And the next day, which was a working day, I quickly made a claim. I made a claim and I listed all the items that were stolen, content, and it showed even to my handbags, phones. So I insured all of that. So outside of my motor insurance, we took care of my car window, which was damaged. I also had household that refund. So my wristwatch, which I felt like it was like 200,000. I got refunds for all of that. So you would find that the money you pay to get this level of confidence and this level of comfort is really, really, really very little compared to the loss when it happens. Most times you find somebody who is driving a car of 50 million and they just have a third-party insurance on it. And you wonder, this is almost penny wise. And the rest is history. So if something happens to that car, for example, now, and if something happens to that car, for example, and that car is total, that you don't have any insurance, you just have third party, which doesn't necessarily cover your car. What happens to you? You're very rich at the time, but it's 50 million money that you just want to cough out and just spend carelessly like that. It could be used for other investment purposes. But now flip the script and see, maybe you had a motor insurance, for example, that covers your car, and you've just paid 1 million to cover a car of 50 million. And in the event that something happens, you put a call and say, oh, hi, Juliet, I'm just involved in an accident or in a robbery now. My car has been carted away with and everything. The first thing is, oh, we would try to calm you down and everything, get all the details, and now start our investigation. Sometimes we will go as much as trying to track the car. But in the end is that insurance ends up indemnifying you back to your former position. And you find that at the end of all that process, insurance pays you your money back, less maybe depreciation, and they're paying you 47 million for a 1 million insurance that you've taken on your car. And these things happen. You've done insurance in months, and unfortunately for you, this thing happens. Once you have the cover, you have that peace of mind. You can go home and rest. It might be inconvenient at the time when you're trying to do the claim procedure, but once you get 47 million, you can go back to living your lifestyle the way you want it. Now, the all risk speaks to anything you can term as a risk. So even your phone, you're moving with your phone every day, it's a risk. You're moving with your laptop every day, it's a risk. And all these things, as far as you can think about it, is something that you can cover under insurance. For business owners here, we have something called the SME insurance. If you go to our platform, we call it LBOS. What it really speaks to is that I'm a business owner. Yes, I'm not as large as the Dangotes and all the big businesses and all that, but I have valuables. I have personnel. I'd like to cover them and all that. This SME insurance speaks to that. So you just give us all the details and all the assets you'd like to cover under this, and we'll have it covered and under a very, very little premium, and you have it covered, and you have your rest of mind. So many shops that were boggled during the NSAS, I can tell you personally, I have friends who had shops who they had taken loan to stock up their shops, and this thing happened, and they're back to square one. The worst that the bank is going to do for you is to refinance your loan and just say, oh, we're sorry, this happened. However, we'll give you 3 extra months to pay your money, or we would stretch the period. They won't say we are canceling your loan because something happened during NSAS. You would have to pay because those are people's monies that they have used to give you that loan. Now, if you had an insurance that will cover those assets, it will just take the same procedure, put a call through to the insurance company and make your claim. They will take pictures, they have people who do surveys and all that, and they will indemnify you to the extent of your loss. So you would see that everything is still centered around making wise financial decisions when it comes to your money and your personal finances. The next slide speaks to the benefits. Quickly, just before we go into health, like the benefits we've listed here, it gives you peace of mind. Insurance is associated with peace of mind. It gives you financial stability for those who want to plan their finances. It also gives you business stability, like I've just mentioned in the SME insurance, in the event that something happens or the unforeseen happens. And for legal compliance, for most of us, we don't know that insurance is actually a statutory requirement for businesses. But once you have a business, you have 3 employees or more, it is required of you to have an insurance just to cover those major things you term as risk. At this point, I will just take a pause. Anyone who has questions, I've been seeing questions in the chat, just keep your questions coming. At the end of all the presentations, we'll take all the questions together. So I would allow my colleague, Ayobami, to speak to us about the health before we go. But I think we're supposed to have a poll just to recap what we know about both general and life insurances. I think the poll should come up now. Michael, please, can you help us put up the poll? It's just to take a quick quiz which we can use to speak to. I think we just have a few questions there. So just quickly pick the answers that suit you. I will speak to it in general as the presentation goes on. Ayobami, please, you have the floor. You can speak to your slide.
Ayobami, you're muted. Please unmute yourself.
You're muted, Ayobami.
Sorry, so sorry. Good evening, everyone. Hi, Abami Adeyemi Adebo is my name. Thank you so much for the rare privilege. We're really happy to be in your midst tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to speak through. But so I can't see my slide though. I don't know if you can access to it. Okay, I'll just quickly go to the importance of having a health insurance. No one plans to fall sick. There's this popular saying that goes, health is wealth. No one plans to fall sick. However, we always would say to people that it's important to put a health insurance in place. I mean, you have a health plan, a working one, an effective one, you know, that you can always fall back to. So let me go first by saying this thing that happened in my family some time ago. I think this was in like some 2-3 years ago. My younger sister's daughter fell here. So we went round. I think because she stays close to, not too far from Surulere. So she went to Randall, that children, maybe I think mother and child in Randall. And even the pediatrician and everything thought this was chickenpox. The way this, so she was ill. She was administered some medications, and I guess what happened was she was reacting to medications. So at that point, the medical personnel thought this was chickenpox. So they were trying to treat chickenpox, and this thing will burst out like a burn on her skin, and that place will get burnt. It feels like she had like hot water burnt or something like that. And we were looking at this, and the skin was, you know, becoming funny, looking all funny, all her mouth. She was burning from inside. Meanwhile, this was Steven Johnson syndrome that nobody knew. We ended up at Isalu somewhere in Ogba, and this, you know, we got to know that it was Steven Johnson syndrome. This kills. Steven Johnson syndrome kills if you don't detect quickly. This little girl, I think she was around 6 then, she turned 8 this year. 6 or 5 thereabouts, I think 6. She was in the hospital for 11 days. This thing happened to her like in the space of, within that same year, it happened consecutively in the space of 2 months interval. Now, where I'm going to is that my younger sister and her family do not have any health insurance scheme in place. Isn't that funny? So she had to pay a lot out of pocket. However, with as little as like 40-something thousand per individual, and then for a family of 3, it was just herself and her husband and her daughter then. For like 120-something thousand, she could have afforded a health plan that would, you know, oversee a minimum of at least 30 days hospitalization. Back then, the plan I'm talking about has a limit of 30 days hospitalization. Now, Leadway is fantastic. You don't even have limits as to number of days you can be hospitalized. God forbid, nobody wants to be on a hospital bed for, you know, more than a period of 2-3 days on admission, should you even require one. But then she was in the hospital for a space of 11 days, all the injectables, all the consumables, all the nursing care, and all of this cost a lot of money. Cost like ×3 of what they would have paid for a family of 3, then the 3 individuals in the family for a whole year. So this brings me back to saying that health insurance simply means plan yourself ahead. Now we have a lot of women on this call. We have women who at some stage in their lives would require surgeries. It could even, it's not necessarily speaking to women now. Let's speak to appendix. It could happen to anybody. It could happen to a man, it could happen to a woman. You could require an emergency appendicectomy surgery, and this will cost you a minimum of about $250 in a standard private hospital. Now you don't have anything. You've collected your salary, 30 days make you pay. you've exhausted one responsibility here, one, commitment here and there, and then you don't have any money on you again. Who do you call on? This is why a health insurance is very important. It protects you, your family, your staff. You could buy for individuals, you could buy for a family, you could also buy for your senior members, our parents that are above the age of 59, between 59 and 69. We've done something really amazing as Leadway Health. We created a plan that we can give to our parents. However, if my mom or dad gets on the scheme at 59, 60, and he or she turns 70, we're not going to take them off the scheme. They will be on the scheme because we've been managing them for a period of time. So we've done something really nice. I think just about Leadway, and maybe if there's any other HMO, I don't think there's any, that's doing senior citizen scheme as we speak today. For small, medium enterprise, there are very suitable benefits, health benefits we created as well for your scheme. And then large organizations running from 20 personnel upward to whatever. Today on our scheme, we have the likes of Flour Mill with over 8,000 members on the scheme. We have Guinness, we have Nigerian breweries, we have out of the top 4, we have KPMG, we have PwC, we have EY. Just to mention a few, we are playing in different sectors as we speak. This is funny because Leadway just literally launched health insurance in January. And when we go for presentations and show the slide that speaks to a few of our clientele, people get, people get quite, days that you've gotten this much in the space of how many months of starting health insurance. So you're running from, you can get your kids, you can get home vaccinations for your children. You don't necessarily have to take them to a health center for vaccinations. Once we know the time of the month when they require their vaccines, we take that up. We can come to your board and give them vaccine. We're big on prevention. Preventive. We don't want curative. We want to practice preventive medicine where at least you can get a health check done at a certain time of the year. Should you come in as an organization, small medium enterprise or a large corporate, or an individual, there are times in the year where you could pick on, okay, I dedicate months of January or March or any month that is suitable to do my health check. The list of urinalysis as part of one of the wellness, tests you get done can reveal a lot. You can get to know if your kidneys are fine, if you don't have issues with your liver and all of these things. You can do blood tests, which will reveal blood sugar level. A lot of things can be done in terms of wellness. People say, I don't need, my colleague here mentioned earlier that people would say, God is my insurance. But even when we call on God to perfect things, we still have to go the medical route to seek, ensure that we get medical, care in terms of whatever. People deal with chronic conditions like diabetes, hypertension for a lifetime, except for God's intervention. So when you have to do with all of this and take medications, health insurance is there for you. You need to pick up your medications. We run pharmacy programs where even when you visit a hospital and the hospital is saying, oh, we don't have this certain brand of drug, we have this generic one, you want a branded one, that's fine. All we require from you is your prescription. We'll ask you, we're in partnership with MedPlus, we're in partnership with Express Pharmacy, Tonia Pharmacy, to mention a few. You can walk into any of this pharmacy once we know they're around you and pick up your medications. We'll call them, we'll supply them your prescription, and you walk in and pick your medications without you still paying out of pocket. So you go in, you could see a specialist. You don't necessarily have to see, for us, when you, as a woman, you need to see a gynecologist. For some other HMOs would want you to go through the process of seeing a GP first. No, for us at Leadway, all you need to do is see a specialist right away. You need to see a gyne, you see one. You need to see an ophthalmologist, you see one. So you can pick your frames, you can do your dental services, spread across all area of medical need. You can do health screening. I've mentioned a lot about health screening. And then the importance of having a health plan cannot be overruled. I've had a surgery done on health insurance before, which would have cost me a lot of thousands of naira. So health insurance cannot be ruled out. It's very important. Never say never. Nobody wants to fall ill. But there are lots of things people say because of what we eat in this generation and time. A few of us can't go the route of planting what we eat. We all can't go the organic way. And then we buy all sorts in the market and we are going through a lot. People say because of what we put in our tummy, people now then get to deal with a lot of diseases and sicknesses here and there. So it's very key that you have a health insurance. It allows you, reduce your costs. You can be able to save. You don't you would have paid a certain amount of premium for a period of a year, except what you want to get to do in the hospital is not covered. That's when you have to put your hands in your pocket and pay. If not, you're covered for a whole year. Whatever is stated plainly on your document and policy document that is covered across the year. We run advanced pharmacy benefit, like I mentioned. People on our scheme that are, suffering from one chronic condition or the other, diabetes, hypertension, asthma, whatever it is, we run the program for them where their regular supply of medicines that can be picked at the pharmacy, we can supply them. Now, when they even need to see their specialists to review their medications, we build resistance at some point as individuals. So when you can no longer, apart from that, specialists will want to see you maybe once in a year or 2 years to see that they're doing well with these medications. They want to check your blood level, check your diabetes level, rate, and everything. They can introduce more medications or rule out one and say, okay, let's start using this for you. You're getting better or something. So we want to be there for you. We don't want you to pay anything out of pocket, and we don't want you to run out of supply, because this set of individuals live on medications and they need to take it as a when due. So your regular supply of medicine is covered under Leadway Health. Now, this get age and time, people don't want to necessarily frequent the hospital. We run telemedicine services. You can consult once you get enrolled on our Leadway Health plan. You can download our health. What's it called? You can download our mobile app on iOS. You can also download on Android. So you can do everything. Should you even be out of location, once you turn the geolocation thing on, you can get to know the certain hospitals that we have relationship with. We are flexible. We allow you roam hospitals within your planned band. You can do any hospital. Should you be on the island today and you require care, you can use. If you be in Abuja on vacation, if you require health care, you can access. You don't necessarily have to interfere or call. You don't necessarily need human intervention. However, even if you place a call, we have a running 24/7 contact center manned by doctors and nurses that are there, and they are medically inclined, and they can run you through whatever your need is. If you need to do any test and you need any diagnostic center, we're partnership with clinics, Medcure, Lab, Echo Lab. Let me mention just those few. You can't rule out, like I said, the importance of having a health plan in place. On our scheme, we believe in you living healthier. We believe in the healthier you. We make available access to gyms and nutritional centers. So if you belong to the healthy living gang, you can always, get to do your gym service at least a minimum of once a week. On its own, this is an add-on. You understand? So certain plans will avail you once a week access to gym. Certain plans will avail you a minimum of twice a week on access to the gym. If you walk into like Smoothie Express, you can get at least a minimum of 5 to 10% discount on your foodies and everything you pick. We have nationwide coverage of hospitals. At least as we speak now, we have over 1,700 hospitals we're in partnership with. You can access any hospital on our scheme across the country, 30 states and FCT. Antenatal and postnatal care is available. Now, if you buy as an individual, there are certain things called moratoriums. Moratoriums are waiting periods that applies everywhere in the world, not only in Nigerian health insurance. It's the standard everywhere in the world. Should you even buy a Bupa International plan? Some of us are well traveled on this call. If you buy Bupa International, you can't buy a Bupa International scheme now and then go abroad the next 2-3 months that you want to deliver a baby. It's not done. You should have been on the scheme for a period of 10 months, a minimum of 10 months or at least a year. So you can do. So I spoke to medical concierge, like we can have your babies and toddlers get vaccinated at home. You don't necessarily have to take them. COVID is still around us. You don't necessarily have to move around hospital a lot. So when I mentioned telemedicine earlier, let me go back a little. If you consult on our mobile app, and then you've spoken to a doctor, you've consulted, you've spoken about what you feel, how you feel, and then you require some medications, the team of pharmacy in-house will also arrange for you to pick up your drugs at the closest pharmacy that we're in partnership around you, and we could deliver to your office as the case may be. We're very flexible, and we're very, very affordable as well. I don't know if you have questions now, but I'll allow my colleague to take the next call, point of presentation. Thank you for your time.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you, Bunmi, for your presentation, and thank you, ladies, for joining the platform and having us here. It's a great opportunity to speak with everyone. My name is Jumoke Aruwayo. and a member of the Leadway team. So today I'll be talking about wills. So I know that there's a lot of misconception about wills, and one of them is death. So a lot of people feel that when you come to talk to them about will, the first thing they will tell you is, I'm not ready to die. Some people will say, I'm too young to write a will, or I don't even have any asset. And some people say, God forbid. So I've had people raising prayer points when I'm talking to them about wills because they just don't want to hear about it. But the truth of the matter is that, yes, I know that as Christians, longevity is part of our partnership or part of the covenant we have in Christ, that we all live long, and enjoy the fruit of our labor and all that. But the truth of the matter is nobody knows tomorrow. Nobody knows when the eventuality would happen. So what happens to, we've spoken about financial literacy today. We've spoken about how to invest our funds or how to make wise decisions in terms of insurance and all that. So what happens to those assets that we have acquired in the case of eventuality, because nobody knows when, if everybody is going to speak here, nobody actually knows when they are going to be gone. So life is short and you have to, life moves on. As people say, you plan for tomorrow, but nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. So a will is also part of financial planning, is a form of financial planning that allows you to, it's a legal document that allows you to distribute your assets the way and manner you want, which allows you to exclude external forces. So people say, I'm not ready to die, or I'm too young to write a will, or I don't have any assets. Anybody can write a will. Anybody can write a will. Anybody, as long as you have, so for people that say that I don't have anything, as long as you're, let's say for example, an employee and you have an RSA account, those are assets. As long as you have money in your bank account, those are assets that you can will. As long as you have gold, jewelries, shares, stock, houses. So a lot of us have acquired properties. A lot of us have land and all that. As long as you have that, those are assets that you can distribute. And I remember while JBums was talking, while introducing the topic, she said that a lot of women are living the responsibility of taking up their financial responsibility. A lot of women are very slack in terms of their financial responsibility. They feel that, oh, my husband will do this, or my husband will cater for it. In the culture that we have now, some customs in the Igbo tradition, for example, they disinherit a girl child. They'll tell you that a girl child is not allowed to inherit the properties of her father. That's because she's going to be married to another family, or a girl child doesn't take as much as a male child because of certain reasons. Yes, those cultures are repugnant, but it still happens here in Nigeria. You see a lot of posts on social media. Recently, was it 2 weeks ago, I read one that said, oh, as an Igbo man is Omena or something, allows him to inherit the property of his sibling, as long as the man does not, if that is sibling that doesn't have a child or doesn't have a male child. So you read a lot of funny things. It will allows you to protect the future. Basically, you're protecting the future of your loved ones. You're securing your assets, the assets that you have acquired. You're securing it. So most times I like to. So apart from reading people's stories, I like to use myself as as an example. I left dad at a very young age. I think I was 6 years old when he died, and prior to his, we lived a very comfortable life. He had a lot of property. We attended the best schools. And just suddenly one night, he slept and he didn't. Sudden. And so till today, when I speak with my mom, when myself and my mom speak about this, and she says that what surprises her the most is how his family went about it. Prior to his death, we used to live, it was a happy family. My uncles and my aunties were living with us. So it was one big family and all that. But when he died, they came to pack everything. I mean, as in they went as far as packing his clothing. So it was that bad. And thank God for grace. My mom was a civil servant then, so we were able to bounce back, and a couple of properties that they couldn't lay their hands on, we were able to bounce back, and we lived a good life. I am myself and my sibling were doing well. But not everyone can bounce back out of that situation. I've dealt with clients that the pressure of obtaining a letter. So a person that writes a will is called a testator or a testatrix. Where a person dies or passes on without a will, it's said to be that the person died intestate. And where a person dies intestate, the laws of the state applies. And it basically means that they have to obtain for distribution of their assets or for getting properties, having access to their funds in the bank or the retirement savings account, they have to obtain a document called the letter of administration, which is popularly known as letter LA. So I'll ask a question. I'd like people, or I'd like any one of us to put an answer in the chat box. So how many of us have gone through the process of obtaining LA in Lagos? Lagos and Ogun State, for example. How long did it take you? Was it a very simple process? Was it a very rigorous process? Was it expensive? What was your experience? Just because I'll be reading the chat box and I want to learn our experience. But from my own angle, practicing as a lawyer, it is a very rigorous, difficult, and costly process to put your family or your loved ones through. I mean, they're going through the agony of losing a loved one, and then they have to go through that process of obtaining LA, especially in Lagos. In Lagos, you have to pay PR. So it's not about the official fee is actually very cheap to obtain, to get the form is about 2,000 or so. But the process for your file to go from one table to the other, you have to pay one money or the other. You have to sort out one person, and it's like, it goes to the highest bidder. You can sort out a particular official 5K or 10K today, and somebody comes and pays 50K. They will drop your file and move to the best paying clients, attend to the best paying. So that's how bad it is. So you really don't want people to go through that agony. I had two clients. Somebody told me that after she has spent about over close to having half a in obtaining early, she was like, oh, see, this money, I don't have it. Let me face my children and my business, and let's continue. God will judge. A lot of unclaimed money, unclaimed dividend, unclaimed money in the bank account that is just going to government funds. The banks are using it to trade and get. So you really don't want to do that. You need to protect the future of your loved ones, and a will allows you to do that. A will allows you to distribute your assets the way and manner you want without external forces. It protects you from terrible customs that disinherit a girl child, or customs that says that a girl child cannot obtain this, or customs that says that a child born out of wedlock cannot get this. It prevents your family from going through that, because you have stated your needs, you have stated your instruction in black and white, and it's going to be followed to the letter. So it allows you to appoint executors. Executors are people that manage your assets. It will allow it. Executors are people that will manage your asset upon your demise. That the ones that ensure that your assets are distributed the way and manner you've stated it. Allows you to appoint your executors. So executors, we always advise that executors should be people that you trust. So a lot of people go further to say, I mean, we're in this country, we're in this world, I don't trust anybody. So if you say, I don't have trusted people to my asset, to manage my asset for me, well, I advise you to appoint trust companies who does their responsibility, trust companies like Leadway Capital and Trust, in which they help you to manage your asset, they distribute, they ensure that the grant of probate is obtained and your asset is distributed how you want. So it will also protect your beneficiaries. I mean, because you've listed, it will allow you to list your beneficiaries, and it protects them because you stated how and to what extent that your assets will be distributed. So it's going to be followed. Nobody is going to go beyond it. It's only when your will is being contested. And as lawyers, we make sure that your will document is drafted to avoid ambiguity. So it's where there are issues of ambiguity that it comes about, that the will is being contested for so reason and all that. So anybody can draft a will, but not anybody can draft. Not everyone can draft a valid will. So with us here, we ensure that the will that we're drafting for you is a valid one, free of ambiguity, to avoid contestation in the future. So it will also dictate it allows you to continue your charitable distribution. So a lot of us, I know a lot of people are engaged with a lot of charitable organizations or their religious body that they give out some funds to monthly on a yearly basis. If you state that, you are allowed to state that in your will to say, oh, I want a particular percentage of my assets or the funds in my bank account to be given to this particular charity organization on a monthly basis or on a yearly basis. It allows you to give out your instruction how you want, and it's going to be followed. Also, for people for women that have children who are below the age of 18, it allows you to appoint guardian and substitute guardian. According to the law, the legal position is that the other spouse is the primary guardian of a child, and where we also give you an opportunity to appoint a substitute guardian to say that, oh, should in case that my primary guardian cannot carry out his responsibility, this is the other person, who could be a sibling, it could be a friend, this is another person that is allowed to carry out this transaction. So I was talking to one of my bosses that I was drafting his wills for, and he told me that the only reason that I'm drafting this will is because I want to protect my children. I want my children to be brought up, should in case I'm gone, I want them to be brought up according to my beliefs and traditions and all that. And he said he has 6 siblings, and apart from his wife, it's only 2 of his siblings that he can trust his children with. And that's because he knows that, oh, they share the same belief, they share the same vision, and those are the only 2 people that can ensure that his children are brought up the way he would have done so if he was there. So that's one of the benefits of having a will, because if you don't write it down, nobody knows. If you don't want to give out your assets to your child or to any beneficiary, nobody knows. Where a person dies without a will, it is the rules of the laws according to the state that governs the distribution of the asset. And in Lagos State, a particular percentage goes to the spouse, to the children, to the parents if they are alive. And for Muslims, so we also have had questions from Muslims says that the Quran also dictates how you distribute your assets. Yes, we draft your will, we ensure that the distribution is according to how it's stated in the Quran. Particular percentage that the Quran says, I think it's 1/4 that says that should be distributed. We will calculate it for you. We use the available Islamic calculator in the distribution of your assets. Will calculate it for you and ensure that your assets are distributed in that manner. Because if you don't put it down in writing, nobody knows your intention. And when nobody knows your intention, it allows for chaos. A lot of people come, that's when you see a lot of family coming out that, oh, when this child was young, I contributed to his finances, I sent him to school, so I'm entitled to this. Or even having a will also allows you for inventory taking, because a lot of people, we have acquired some assets that you have even forgotten about. A lot of people have shares that they can't even remember. If you go to the SEC website, you see a lot of people that their names under unclaimed dividend. A lot of people cannot remember it. But as at the time, you have clients that say, oh, when you gave me my instruction form, it's what that when I remember that, oh, I bought this land and way before. Or I bought this land at the redemption camp when they were building redemption camp, or I bought at Bejuleki with something. So it allows you for inventory taking, it allows you to know what you own, and it allows you to distribute that asset. So nothing is left unturned, because I mean, after we have instances of men that bought assets and they didn't carry out their family along, their other spouse or their wife alone, because they felt that, oh, if I tell this woman or if I tell this man, he's probably going to take over my asset and all that. And after they are gone, nobody knows what happened to. So my husband was telling me recently that a client came to meet me they just saw one document in their father something, and they just realized that if their father has this particular land, so, and funny enough, the land is in Surulere, and by now we were just like, oh, let's drive past this place, let's even see if this land, somebody has built a structure in it. You can imagine the case that they will, how many years, and our judicial system in Nigeria is nothing to write home about. I mean, if you go to court, you don't even know whether in a land dispute case, you don't know whether you're going to complete that case. If that case is going to end in 10 years. Because if you start in the High Court, so somebody will appeal, you go to Court of Appeal, you go to Supreme Court, and are you even sure that justice will be heard at the end of the day? So it allows you to take proper inventory and know what you own, and also allows your family to know what you own. So please, next slide. With us here in Leadway Capital, in Leadway as a group, Leadway Capital is a subsidiary of Leadway. Our wills are offering very cost effective. So if you come and meet me as a private lawyer, there's nobody I can assure you as low as a simple will 42,000 to 50. No, but no lawyer would draft a will for you as low as 42,000 naira. But with us in Leadway Capital, we have a will that is as low as 10,000 naira, 10,750. With that, we will draft your will and hand it over to you. One of the issue with this 10,000 naira is that will not be lodging. Oh, I didn't discuss what lodgement is. So after we have drafted your will and we're taking you through the process of executing your will in the presence of your witness, we would ensure that we lodge your will. So it's not about you just drafting your will and keeping it in a safe or in a drawer and all that, or how we see in African magic, where after the demise of a person, then the lawyer calls the gathering in the boardroom or in the living room and the will is being read. In practice, what happens is that after you've drafted your will and you have signed in the presence of your witnesses, we take the will to the probate registry of the High Court. For example, in Lagos, we have two jurisdictions. We have the one in Ikeja and the one in Igboshiri. So the one in Igboshiri has been moved to Ikeja. So we take the will to the probate registry of the High Court, pay for lodgement. We are basically keeping the will in the at the safe in the probate registry, and that's for safekeeping. So peradventure the second copy I give to you, you don't know where you kept it, or you have a child that says, my mother did not give me something. Someone like me now, I can sign my mother's signature. As even in my sleep, I can sign my mother's signature. So you can just imagine if I still come across my mother's will and say, hey, this woman did not give me something or something like that, and I want to alter the will and just quickly sign. That copy that we give to you is basically irrelevant. It's just for you to know what you did. It's just for your own copy. It's the copy that is kept at the probate registry that is more important. And when the time comes, when eventuality happens, the executor goes to the probate court. The search of the will, an application is made for search of the will. The will is called as all parties are called to the open court. A date is fixed for like just court hearing cases, and at the open court, a probate judge reads out the will to all beneficiaries and all parties present. It's after the will is being read that it is now a grant of probate is issued. That document that is given to each family is that document that gives the executors the right to manage the assets, the right to distribute the asset in how the testator have written it in their documents, the right to take the document to the bank to say that, oh, please, we want to have access to this fund in your bank account. So with the 10,750, this product just covers the funds in your retirement savings account without lodgement. So this product was basically better due to low income earners who says that, oh, don't worry, I just need you to draft my document for me. I'll go through the stress of lodging it myself. We also have a simple will. A simple will costs 42,000, which is inclusive of VAT and probate lodgement. I would like to say that all our fees are one-off, so we're not coming back to tell you that you're paying a yearly premium or yearly payment. Once you pay, it covers it covers drafting, it covers lodgement at the probate registry, and it is one-off. It's for life until you come up maybe in 2 to 3 years to say you want to update your will, where we charge you a little token for that. And we have a comprehensive will that covers all assets. So it basically covers funds in your bank account, funds in your retirement savings account. It covers your landed properties, and it covers all your houses, investment, insurance, policies, digital currency. Now we're dealing with digital currency. It covers the digital currency and costs just 79,900. We also have bespoke services, which is 192,000. It's a will, but have a trust element in the will. So I'll explain a trust arrangement. You know, in a will document, you are outrightly giving out your assets to your beneficiary. For a trust arrangement, it happens in a situation where, for example, let me use, if I have a minor child, for example, and I feel that, oh, my child is less than 18, and if I give out this asset to this child, or even if the child is 18 years old, the child might not be matured enough to handle this asset. There's peer pressure and all that. I want to appoint a trustee who will manage my assets for the benefit of my beneficiaries. It will give my beneficiary a monthly income and take care of their education and all that until they attain a particular age or until they fulfill a particular condition. So that product costs 290. So it covers everything that you own, both the funds, your cash asset and your fixed assets. There was something I failed to mention when we were talking. There's a lot of mistake a lot of people make, is that mistaking their next of kin as beneficiary. A next of kin does not mean a beneficiary. A next of kin basically just means that if it's your emergency contact where you cannot reach out to me, this is the person you can get in touch with to reach out to me. But a beneficiary means that I'm giving out my assets to this person. So for us, those of us in paid employment that have already, while filling our RSA documents, our retirement savings account or so, and they tell you, fill your next of kin. And you feel because you have filled your next of kin, that means that the person has access to that. No, the person does not have access to those funds until they obtain, but the Pension Reforms Act actually says that nobody can have access to your fund, the fund of a deceased person, except there's a will that lists the person as a beneficiary, or where the person dies without a will, they have to go ahead to obtain a letter of administration. So no bank official will give out money or give access to any next of kin, except there's a will listing that person as a beneficiary. And so please, I know that we have questions both from the insurance section and from the health insurance sector. If you have your questions, please drop them in the chat box. We would answer them. We'll take them. We have our moderators who will take them one-on-one and we'll speak to them. Thank you for, I hope I didn't take much of your time. Thank you for having us. Thank you. Bunmi, over to you.
Julia, just 1 second. Thank you so much to everyone who has contributed. This has been a power-packed evening. I've learned so much, even though I'm already doing a lot of these things already, but I have learned more. I just wanted to reiterate a lot of the different packages that you touched on. And I think that anybody who is here that has been following me since earlier in the year would remember a little incident that I had at home with my boys. So let me just quickly say, it was a Friday night like this, and typically on Friday nights we have movie nights. So today is a movie night day, and we was a slumber party. So we had 2 of our neighbors over, and these kids were excited. They had popcorn, they had drinks, and you know when children have sugar now, they get very hyper and they start jumping over the whole place, jumping off the ceilings, and these children were going crazy. One moment we are all dancing, just dance, you know, I was doing this choreography with the next minute. And so you know what? I was actually recording this and I was posting it on Instagram. The next minute, my son threw a toy at our new TV. That TV was bought November of 2020. Yeah. And in less than 2 months, that TV was gone. So I just saw the thing to the TV. I just saw the TV just crack. And I was like, hey. Then I remembered, this TV is insured. No warranty. Forget about that warranty stuff. Because sometimes when you have warranty and you go into the store, they will tell you, oh, well, this is inflicted damage. We can't do anything about it. You have to buy a new TV. And I didn't want to hear that. So thankfully, my husband had insured the TV. And I did show you guys the crack and everything. I went back into the store and I picked up a brand new TV worth almost 980,000 naira for free. So when you think about it, a lot of people, you think about, oh, the insurance is expensive. Oh, I don't want to get it because why will I insure my TV? Maybe you're asking me for 65,000 naira more, or depending on the one that you get, or 120,000 naira. It just seems too much. It just seems like too much money for me. But you actually never know the future. We don't know what's going to happen. So it actually makes sense to be prepared for anything that happens. And imagine if I had to cough out an extra almost 1 million naira. 1 million naira that I would have put towards something else, towards saving for something, towards just sort of life enjoyment. Imagine if I just took that money and decided to go on a trip. I would have had to take that money and buy a new TV because everybody needs a TV in their house. So this is just something that makes you think about how this can happen to anybody. The truth about it is that we don't pray for it, but I've actually heard like all the speakers have said that, I'm sure it's an African thing. We always think, God forbid, it will not be my portion. Can never happen to me. Well, how about the people that it happens to? Do we really think about that? How about the people that these sorts of things happen to? Like me, am I not a Christian? Don't I love God? You guys know me now. I'm a Jesus baby, but my TV broke. They're just things that we need to put into consideration and actually be serious about. And I love all the aspects that we've touched today. Health insurance, so important. If you're a woman, please, on Monday, pay for it. Because if you think about it, so many women, if you are a woman and you're over 21 and you don't have health insurance, I'm telling you, I'm begging you to go and get. It is very important for you and your family. If you think that you love your children, you think that you love your family, you love your husband, please. Because you know what? If anything happens to you, guess what? Life continues. And that's the truth. It doesn't stop for a second. It doesn't stop. So when you start to think about that, you then know that, you know what? I need to take care of me. I need to be intentional about doing things that favor me. A lot of women always think about doing things for other people other than themselves. Oh, you're doing things for your family, your parents. You're doing things for your siblings. You're doing things for your husband. You're doing things for your children. Where do you come in? So that's why, and I know there's some men here, so I apologize for that. But I know that the majority of the people here are women. So I just really wanted to say that you should think about getting it ASAP. You think about doing, regular checkups every single year. You want to go and get a pap smear. If you're over 21 and you've never gotten a pap smear, you need to think about doing that. And I know that those are expensive, and that's why you need insurance. So I can go on and on, but I'm sure you guys have some questions. And please remember that no question is silly. No question is stupid. All questions are important. All questions are welcome. And all the speakers here are ready to answer your questions. So I think they're ready. I think we have 4 in the question and answer box. So I'll just hand it back over to either of the panelists to just take on the questions. And please remember, you can type it there. We're waiting to hear from you. Okay, the poll is back up now.
Just quickly take the results of the poll, just to address the questions and the answers that were chosen by the respondents. Please, can we have the results up?
The results are up already.
Okay, I can't see that from my end. Michael, please, can you help me just project that again?
Okay, this makes sense, which is why we're doing this, because I wait for you to see it, but it makes sense now. So you don't really know how it works. That's what most people are saying.
Hi, Michael. Please, can you help me put up the poll results again?
Juliet is up.
Oh, I'm just saying it has been shared. I can't really see the results per se. Can you take it off and put it on back again, please? Just to speak to the answers. Okay, great. I can see that now. So number 1 says, okay. Can you see? Okay, yeah. So number 1 says, do you have a no? Like, I want to hope and believe that after this webinar, not to think of types of life insurance insured, or actually doing the whole life insurance cover. I want to believe that maybe there'll be a follow-up and actually increase the number of the yeses instead of so many no's. If not, why? I can say a lot of people are saying, I don't really understand how it works. So like earlier said in the presentation, it's very easy and very simple. You just need to know what you want, what type of insurance you want. Once you identify that, oh, I want life insurance, identify what purpose you want that insurance for. Do you want it just to save, or do you want it to cover your loved ones, or do you want it to cover yourself? Once you can articulate what your need is for, once you contact us, we will tell you the kinds of insurance that are available, and you would, with the benefits accrued to those types of insurance, then you can now choose based on your finances and then go ahead to take a policy. It's as easy as that. There's no myth surrounding it. And I think that everybody should be able to afford one. You can start saving for as little as 10,000. That's insurance that also has a life cover. You can take a life cover for your self and your brothers and your sisters. First, this and say, this is what I want. My family is covered on each, or 5 million each, and we'll give you a quotation, and then we can start up your policy. And for those saying that I'm still young, once you are 18, you're very eligible to actually get life insurance here. So there's no reasons to stretch above 65 for some of our senior citizens. So please, let's try to increase the numbers, and let's try to do something that puts something away for our future. So I'll just go into the question and answers. The first question here speaks to tax rebates. Is this applicable to all policies? If no, please, which of your policies are tax rebates applicable on? So the tax rebate is not applicable to all policies. The tax rebate is only applicable to risk policies. Some of our risk policies are like your deferred annuity. Maybe you're saving towards your retirement, for example, now, or you take a term life insurance and say, oh, I want to cover myself for a period of 10 years or 15 years or 5 years. And after that, those types of policies that have risk attached to it, a funeral benefit, for example, funeral insurance, for example, those type of policies, you would enjoy tax rebates. Now, most times the way it works is that the monies that are charged on your salary or your income as tax is reduced by the amounts that you enjoy rebates for. So for example, if your salary or your income is 200,000, by the time you fill that form and you put in the life insurance cover that you have, and they apply the rebates, instead of deducting 20,000 as is the normal practice, or 50,000 as is normal practice, you find that they are deducting something like maybe 5,000 or 20,000 or 10,000. And you find that tax rebate has actually filled in for the normal tax that you'd have been charged ab initio. So the next, I'll try to take the questions that are life and general just before I hand over to Ayobami to answer. Ezuku said, sorry, I hope I didn't murder your name, Oluebube. He was asking, the target plan, does the owner of the plan have to die before it is paid? Or what kind of circumstances lead to getting the benefits? So the target plan is a plan you enjoy whilst you are alive. The only interesting side to having the target plan, like I mentioned, was that when you are saving to go to Harvard or to Yale, at the end of the five-year period where you have saved your money, you will take your money, you will take the target plan. Now that target sum, you will get the target sum, what you have saved, and the interest. So if you have saved 2 million, for example, you get your 2 million, which is the target sum, and the interest, and you can be able to meet up with the target you were initially saving for. But now the interesting side is, whilst you are saving and the unknown happens, God forbid somebody is going to work and the person has a target plan and they're involved in an accident, and maybe before the person is rushed to the hospital, they're pronounced dead on arrival. Now, because when you're filling the form, most times when you're filling any insurance, taking any insurance policy, there are forms and there are questions that you are asked. So you have your next of kin details, your beneficiaries, or whoever your emergency contact is. Once we have that, in the event that that person dies now, we will contact whoever has been stated in your form, and the target sum which you were saving towards, which you were not able to enjoy while you are alive, the whole sum is what is payable to your beneficiaries. or however you have stated it in the form for us to go ahead and administer. So you enjoy while you're alive if you stay till the end of the target period. And if for any reasons you are not able to live up to the target period, the future unpaid benefit, which is the target sum, regardless of how much you have contributed, is what is payable to your beneficiaries. I hope I've been able to answer that. But if you're not clear, please still drop a question and we would try to speak to that. Anonymous says, can I get an education plan for a child that's yet to start school? So if you come to us and you take up an education plan, for example, you would have to put names of your beneficiaries. Like we said, the insurable age is 18 years old. However, where you have the child who's a minor, they can be beneficiaries. However, if something happens to the parent who's the policy holder now, and that money is going to be administered, it can't be paid to the child because the child is a minor. However, it can be put in an account in care, or it can be put towards helping that child to actually start and actualize the dream of their parents, which was to eventually go to maybe Corona, for example, now. So that money which the parent has saved and the future unpaid sum, which was the target sum for that education plan, will be put to the use which the parents initially wanted that money to be used, or put in care for somebody who is a legal guardian to go ahead and administer the funds the way the person wants, the way the policyholder would have wanted that money to be used, and in the manner too. Miriam said, so my dad created a life insurance plan for me as a child, but I don't have the details or access to it. Is it possible to create another one? So Miriam, just to answer your question, if you know the insurance company where your dad has this policy, you can actually do them a mail or walk up to their office and give them your dad's name. If your dad put the policy in his name, give them your dad's name to pull up your plan. They can give you a copy of your policy document, so you see what the insurance which your father has taken, what it covers, and to what extent. But if your dad has maybe the policy number, or he can even remember the year he took it, it also helps, because they'll ask you all those questions when you get them. But yes, you can create another one for yourself. You can take up one for yourself, or you can just leverage on the one your father already has. But I mean, there's really, people keep asking, is there a limit to the cover you can take for life insurance? If I asked everybody here now, put a value to your life, I'm not sure anybody's going to put 5 million or 2 million or 3 million. So people would go ahead and value their life as much as 1 billion. So people will give it 100 billion and co. And so that's to just tell you that there's no value to a human being's life. So you can go ahead to take as much insurance covers in as many insurance companies as you want, as far as you can pay premiums. So it only means that in the event that the eventuality that we're praying, oh, God forbid it doesn't happen, in the event that it happens. So for example, now, Mr. Ayo, just a hypothetical case, has taken 7 insurance, life insurance policies to the tune of 10 million each. That's 7. So if Mr. Ayo dies, what Mr. Ayo's wife gets, if Mr. Ayo's wife is his beneficiary, is 70 million from 7 different insurance companies. That's because Mr. Ayo is able to pay premiums in those 7 insurance. So it's just like an accumulation of wealth from different insurance companies. So you can go ahead to take one, regardless of whether your dad has one or not. Just to see if there's any other question I can speak to just before I hand over to Ayobami. Well, I don't see any other one that actually speaks to me. So I'll allow Ayobami to speak to the health. I can see some HMO questions here. Ayobami, over to you, please.
Sorry, Juliet, I didn't hear that.
Can you hear us? So I'm saying you should speak to, there's some questions about HMO and about health insurance I'd like you to speak to.
Okay, I'm here
briefly
fully.
In the Q&A. Okay.
Okay, do I have to slide up to look at the questions?
Just click on the Q&A portion and just scroll down to see the questions so you can answer them. Yes.
Okay. can I combine, okay, Leadway health insurance with my company's HMO plan? Well, I'm sure we're separate entities. We don't have a relationship with your current HMO, but you can look at our offerings and then you might find out that we have better benefits, and then you can key into our scheme. So wherever your current HMO falls short, of course, then maybe you can pick up benefits from hers. But you can't run a company. There can't be a co-insurance kind of thing. It's a separate entity, separate business. I'm sure this answers this question. So can I combine? So my dad created a life insurance plan for, okay. I'm sure this must have been answered. Please, I trust not for wealth people. Is trust not for wealth people? Okay, I think this is the only question for now. Okay, let me
scroll down. There's one more question. I don't have a HMO because I'm no longer.
I don't have a HMO because I'm no longer with my former company. Yes, you can. So I said in the course of my conversation that you can have a retail plan. That means I can buy a plan, even though I work for myself. I'm a self-employed person. I can buy a health plan for myself. I don't necessarily have to buy a plan under a company. So you can buy a retail plan, even when you are not under anyone's payroll. So let's say I want to undergo a surgery to correct a bone defect. Can insurance cover that? And how long do I have to be under insurance before insurance can cover such insurance? So there are things called pre-existing conditions. So pre-existing conditions are not covered. Some are congenital. So I don't know if I should necessarily identify this as a congenital issue. You get, I'm an insurance advisor, but not necessarily a doctor. But to correct a bone, okay, let me say, if I want to, I don't know, but let me just, a bone defect is a pre-existing condition, right? And pre-existing conditions on a scheme, like pre-existing conditions like diabetes, hypertension, is a different cadre of pre-existing condition. But a bone defect, like something is wrong with like my backbone or something, it's more like a congenital. So on retail plans, you might not get such, cover on retail plan. I think this is all for health insurance.
Okay, I'll just speak to, there's a question Oluebube asks. He asks something, what does travel health insurance or travel insurance cover? What does it entail? So travel insurance, it contains, it's a very, very wide range of cover. It covers you up to baggage loss, you lose your baggage, flight delays, health insurance whilst you are in the country where you have traveled to. So most times we find that some people are abroad, maybe you went on vacation, for example, and for some reasons you're ill. Health insurance outside Nigeria is not 5 naira. And so if you don't have this kind of cover, you don't have a travel health insurance, you'd find that you're paying out of pocket. And by the time you do currency conversion, you find that you're paying so much. Whereas if you had a travel health insurance, which most times, if you're going to apply for a visa, for example, sometimes it's mandated, depending on the embassy you're going to, you're supposed to have the travel health insurance, because you don't want cases whereby people walk into the hospital, they're giving you health care, and you can't even pay. So most times they mandate you to get it. So it covers your health whilst you are there. If you we have partners, international partners that we work with in the event where you need to medical health care, they would contact us and we will do the necessary, and your bills will be paid up to a limit depending on the type of insurance, travel insurance plan that you sign up for. So it covers loss of baggages, like I earlier mentioned. Most times it covers flight delays, or where your flight is automatically cancelled with no reason from the flight and all that. Once you make a claim by either sending us a mail or putting a call across, you will be indemnified to the extent of your loss. As you're about to Olajumoke to speak, please, it's trust, not for.
Sorry, Juliet, can you come again? I didn't get that. I lost you.
Okay, so somebody asked here saying, please, is trust not for wealthy people only?
No, okay, so let me quickly respond to that. Trust is not for wealthy people, so you can always make your arrangements. So that's why when you work with us, we'll plan with your finances and your limits. So some people come to say, well, I want to have a trust and I want to put a lump sum of 10 million naira, let's say for the education of my children or for the welfare of my children, for example. And some people say, well, I don't have that lump sum in bulk now, but can I make quarterly contributions to the trust? So you're allowed to make quarterly contributions in the amounts that you can afford. So you can make a quarterly. So for people in paid employment that collect quarterly pay, for example, so we have clients that say, oh, for my quarterly pay, so amounts to be contributed into the trust, which will cater for the needs of my spouse or my children, welfare of my children, or for their education or whatever. Or they could even have a living trust. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be wealthy or you have to have the big bulk of money to put in the trust. You can do monthly contribution into your trust. You can do a one-off contribution. You can do a quarterly contribution. So what suits your pocket at that point in time is what you go for. Thank you.
Okay, so I believe Jumoke has answered that question. There's also a question here that says, can I take insurance? Do I have to be in Lagos to register, or you can register from anywhere? So you can get coverage from anywhere, really. We're in a very digital and a virtual period at the moment. Most time, even life insurance cover is worldwide. You have people who are outside Nigeria, they still want to have some local form of cover. It's worldwide. Even if you're in Abuja, you're in Zamfara, as far as you can send your details either via email or via WhatsApp, or once you can get your details across to us, we will give you coverage. So there's no limitations to where you can sign up from. You can give us a call or send us a message and we would reach out to you. I don't know if we have any other questions or if we've answered all the questions. And I don't know if Bunmi wants to chip in. Maybe she has any questions she wants to ask.
No, I don't.
Okay. So I will just quickly, I know Bunmi has done like a general recap, but just some points to take away with, just to close the session. We've talked about life insurance. We've said you can save to get protection. We said you can do a target plan to save to whatever target you are hoping to achieve. Mr. Dada, I'll speak to your question just in a minute. We've also mentioned general insurances. We've classified them into covering your assets. We spoke how you can cover your eventuality. We've spoken to health insurance. We have retail and corporate plans. Health insurance is not for only people in paid employment. So even if you are an entrepreneur, for example, and you have your own business, or as a one person, you can actually come to us and take a health plan that suits your needs. Jumoke has also spoken about wills and try to demystify the idea behind getting wills. And we can see that it's also very affordable too and very flexible to suit your needs. Wills just speaks to how you distribute your assets amongst your loved ones, your houses, your shares. There's no limit to what you can list to be distributed in the event that you are no longer there to administer these things. Now, we've been speaking about a lot of things, and we have told you from the beginning of this presentation that we are from Leadway. Just a little information about Leadway. Leadway has been in existence for over 50 years. Over 50 years. It's one of the oldest insurance companies in Nigeria. And we're not just one of the oldest, we're one of the most evolved insurance companies. You see that we're really active on social media, We have our page on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. We also have our presence in Cote d'Ivoire as well. We have a presence in Cote d'Ivoire. We have offices all over the country. So for people who are not even in Lagos, you want to walk into a physical office and get more information, or you want to send us the mail, we're there. And the very one thing you must take away from this presentation is the major reason, outside of protection and peace of mind and everything that we have spoken about in the presentation, that should be associated with any successful in our fifth existence. We have paid claims in over 100 and something billion. As of last year, we had paid claims to the tune of 43.5 billion. Now, how you know the financial stability or the capability of an insurance company is how much they're able to pay in claims. So claims are these things that we have spoken to. In the event that something happens, English or bringing stories, the normal things that people always associate with insurance companies, or you can, and most of this findings, you can do your own research. Go to Google and just do your research in Nigeria. I'm sure those stats, they are done by independent auditors and all that. So when we say we pay claims, you need to go to bed and just be advised that Leadway is not going to fold up tomorrow and just run away with your money, like we see in so many very, very interesting base of 123 billion. So you can be rest assured that whatever risk you're bringing to Leadway, we have the capacity to undertake your risk, and we have our professionals. Even if at the moment you're not ready to do any form of insurance with us, but you just need advisory services and people to speak to and advise you better after now, you can reach out to us. There's a number. I have my number here in the slide up. You can reach me either by call or by WhatsApp, or you can even go to our social media page, the Instagram page, send us a DM and put whatever concerns or questions or needs that you want us to address, and we will get back to you in good time. We thank you so much for taking out time on your Thank God It's Friday. It should have been somewhere more interesting than this, but we hope that the aim, which is to educate and put the word out there and to put that financial consciousness, is achieved at the end of this presentation. Thank you, Bunmi, so much for the partnership, and we're so grateful.
Thank you so much. Oh, okay, am I unmuted? Yes, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining, and for everyone has stayed to the end. I want to thank my partners at Leadway. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. I mean, we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. Amazing. Thank you guys so much. I don't know how to say thank you to you. They brought this free of charge. Like, this is free. You guys didn't pay anything. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone at top management at Leadway for making this possible for my people. I really appreciate it. It's not something that anybody can just do, but you guys decided, I pitched it, and you decided that it was something that was important that you do for my community. So thank you so much. And thank you to everyone that joined. I hope that you learned something very valuable this evening, and you're going to put it into practice, because hearing it is one thing, doing it is another. Doing it is what's most important. And don't waste time.